Welcome to Lea County Pod. Our host today is Pete Melidnik, as always. Pete, would you please introduce our guest today?
Thank you, Jack. We are with Evelyn Nunez this morning, and she works for the City of Hobbs.
Correct.
And we're happy to have you here, Evelyn. I guess a good question to start off with is what is the Evelyn Nunez story? However you want to tell that.
Yeah. That's a pretty wide, question, a pretty open
Yes.
question. So, I guess for me, a lot of people know me from volunteering events here in Hobbs. So that's kind of been my niche here. So I've gotten to know a lot of great people through these events, and it's funny, but I landed like a dream job here. So I never thought I would be living here in this area. I visited Hobbs and Lovington many years back, but I never thought, I'm gonna go live there one day. And now I'm here, and I'm actually living like my best life. So it's great. Yes, I work for the City of Hobbs. I'm an event coordinator with the City of Hobbs, but I started with our code enforcement team, working under the Hobbs Police Department.
Oh.
So there I was doing administrative work. I was answering phones, doing data entry, and then I got to dabble a little bit into grants. So we did the Keep Hobbs Beautiful grants through the code enforcement department. And so that's where I kind of figured out like, I like this, putting people together, doing community cleanups, getting to learn people that want to better our community, or not learn, but I get to meet them. I got to meet a lot of great people that want to see Hobbs just thriving and doing its best. So that's where I just kind of became a Hobbs enthusiast, if you will. I enjoy watching the growth that it's had. So it's working for the city and moving to Hobbs has really kind of opened up a lifestyle that I wanted and I enjoyed. It's in a weird way given me the opportunity to live like a full life moving here from Chicago. Isn't that interesting?
One of my best friends lives in Deerfield, Illinois. She should be getting a birthday card from me by February 28th. But I'm familiar with that area.
Beautiful town, yeah.
Yeah,
Deerfield.
and I think she's from Highland Park. But I always think, I myself am not a native of Hobbs, whereas Jack is, but where we are from is very central to where we are today. Like, did you go to school in the Chicago area?
So I was born in Chicago, and then I was raised in the northwest suburbs, about 45 minutes from Chicago. So we would go to Chicago to visit. My oldest sibling lives in Chicago. She's always has, and then different events would take us there. But we lived in the northwest suburbs. Pretty quiet.
Can you name me a town or two, maybe?
Yeah, so it's near Elgin, where I grew up. Well, first we moved to Berwyn, which is much closer to Chicago. And then we just kept going further and further. Then we went to Carpentersville, which a lot of people won't know. So Elgin is kind of like, it's when people say Lovington and Hobbs, you just know Hobbs more than you might Lovington.
Yeah.
And then as I got with my husband and we moved to Hanover Park, and I worked a lot in Schaumburg. And Schaumburg would be like our Midland, if you will, or our Lubbock, where a lot of people went to shop and things like that for entertainment and whatnot. So I loved working there, and I loved growing up in Chicago. We got to have all 4 seasons, which is beautiful, and you get to experience every temperature throughout the year. And now, jokingly, we say we get winter and construction, because when it is nice, we're fixing all the roads and stuff. But you do get to enjoy the beauty of fall and just the life that blooms during spring. Like, it is very beautiful to be able to visit Chicago and kind of get a glimpse of just a different environment each time you go, because you're going through different seasons. Where here, I feel like it's hot a lot and then it's very cold. There's no in between. I feel like fall and spring kind of get lost in the sauce here, but I'm getting used to it.
In some ways, I feel we have the best weather in the United States.
Really?
But I just want to go back for a moment. probably the most significant thing I did in Chicago, I don't want to sound like a snob or anything, was visit the Chicago Art Institute. And I remember one painting of Surratt's Sunday along the Seine, a pointillist painting. And I'm no art critic or anything like that, but just seeing some of that amazing art in the Institute was a pretty important thing, you know, and I wasn't thinking that at the time I was within those walls, but thinking back now, and we're lucky here that we have different museums, the Western Heritage and the Lea County Museum in the Arts Center here. But yeah, when I moved here in 1990, I was told in my job interview, this is a disaster-free place. And that's the key right there, disaster-free. I know we're on a fire alert, things are very dry, but it's been like this before too. And when I think of some of these horrendous things, you know, going on the West Coast and the flooding and all of that, and in the mild winter, you know, too. I lived in Minnesota for about 10 years, and
they get real winter.
Yeah, snow would start in late
Blizzards
November.
and all. Yeah.
You wouldn't see the ground until late March.
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing is, in Chicago, when my dad, he passed away during COVID, and I still lived there a whole year after he passed away, because we would have like a little memorial for him every month, and we would gather with my family at the cemetery, and it was very healing for me. But after that 1 year, death can put a lot of things in perspective for you, and I realized parents are such a gift, and even more so grandparents, if those that are lucky enough to spend time with grandparents. But I said, my mom is living and well, and she's in San Antonio. What am I doing here in Chicago? God forbid she gets COVID and gets very ill, or something worse happens, you know, an accident or something just suddenly. So I said, I don't know what I'm doing here. I need to be closer to my mom. So I told my husband, in 3 months we're moving to San Antonio. Well, I'm moving. You're welcome to come if you want, or you can stay here. And at that time, we were actually experiencing a little bit of trouble in our relationship. So he has family in other states, and I told him, if you want to explore another state, you're more than welcome to, and we can kind of reassess things and see where we're at in a few months or whatnot. But I know I need to be with my mom. Like, that's my priority right now. And so he was just kind of like, that sounds crazy. Today you woke up and decided you're going to move. And I said, I woke up today and decided I'm going to move, but I'm not moving today. I'm going to give myself 3 months. And so I started dividing our stuff up as far as like what's going to be trashed, what's going to be donated, what's going to come along. And I told them I'm taking very little with me. I'm taking my clothes. We can take some furniture, but I'm not taking like anything from the kitchen. Like, I don't want plates. I don't want any bath towels. Like, I'm very minimizing everything we have so that we can move. And so we did that, and he decided he was going to come along with me. So we moved to my mom's.
In San Antonio.
She was ecstatic. Yeah, she was like, oh my God, this is the best outcome. I'm so glad you're going to move here. And I said, we're going to live here maybe 6 months, and then we'll move out, but we'll stay nearby. And we got to our 6-month mark. And for me, it was actually very easy. My current employer at that time said, we have many offices in San Antonio. Would you just like to transfer? You'll keep your same pay and everything, which I was like so blessed and thankful for. And I was like, yes, because I knew my husband wasn't going to have that same luxury. So he started looking for work. I started to work right away. And then our 6 months came around, and I told my mom, we're going to be moving out. And she was so saddened by that. She's like, why? Stay here. Why would you leave? Like, we need you. You're helping us. You know, I'm sure we're helping you in a way, because financially it was a dream to just help out with their very low cost mortgage and, you know, small bills. They have a small little like ranch style house, 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. And so we said, okay, if you're okay with us staying longer, we'll stay longer. And in that time, San Antonio was experiencing a lot of rain. It was like the summer months. It was like spring months, because we moved there. We moved there towards the end of the year. And so the spring came around. My husband was having trouble. His work ended up being in construction and demolition of houses, and restoring walls, doing all kinds of like outdoor work on homes. Well, there was a lot of rain, and for him as a contractor, no work, no pay. And he just hated feeling like he couldn't carry his weight and living at his mother-in-law's house, right? He didn't like the feeling of feeling like a bum, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't worry about it. Like, something will come around. Like, things will look up. We're okay. But he hated the fact that he wasn't providing for like my whole family, and no one expected him to. But that's how he just felt like a responsibility for him. Well, my stepdad, his son, is living in Leamington with my childhood best friend. They ended up getting married or getting together.
Your stepdad?
My stepdad's son, so my stepbrother, and my best friend.
Oh, okay.
So she and him lived here in Leamington, or lived in Leamington. Lives in Leamington, excuse me. And so they said, well, my husband's name is Francisco. Why doesn't Francisco come out here and work in the oil field? You know, if he's not having good luck right now in the construction business that he's in, like, he can come out here and give it a try. And I said, yeah, that's a good idea. I know that they make great money. If, you know, someone's giving you that door open, you should go for it. And so he said, okay. So he came. We thought about it a lot, but he did end up coming out. And
Before you?
yeah.
Okay.
And that was always a plan. He would just go work and maybe come back. And so he said, hey, you know, like, I like this work. He's such a man's man. And he's like, I like this work. He's like, I do well at it. I enjoy it. The pay is really, really good. And so he's like, I think I'm going to stick it out. And I said, okay, great. So he ended up being out here like 3 or 4 months. And he said, I think you should move out here. And I said, me? Why me? Why am I moving out there? He's like, well, you know, I'm staying at their house. I'm taking over their teenage son's room. I know I'm like invading his privacy, and, you know, I'm sure he wants to come home from school and like play video games, and instead I'm in his room taking over his space. I think you should come out here. We should get somewhere to stay. I said, I'll look around. And so we looked at some places, and the rent was very affordable. Even though we were, you know, living comfortably with my mom, I'm like, wow, compared to what we were paying in Chicago, we're getting a major upgrade. We lived in a 1-room apartment, and we paid like, I think, $900. And that's, you know, that's where our rent started. I know it went up throughout the years, but then the place that we're ended up looking at over here was $900, and it was a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, like, townhouse. So I'm like, wow, okay, I guess we could live, you know, comfortably here in town. So I was like, okay, well, there is a place, you know, do you want to live there? And he's like, yeah. And it was really close to, you know, my stepbrother's house, so we would be close neighbors. And he's like, yeah, I think you should come out here. And I'm like, oh, I'm not completely convinced. I got to think about it. Like, I'm going to need to look for a job. And he's like, you're going to find something. It's going to be easy for you to find something. Like, you have good, you know, like, work history and experience. You'll be fine. And I said, well, I know one thing. I don't want to stay in the same career I'm in. I was working in finance. And I don't want to say the company's name, but there is one in Hobbs. And so, again, my work offered me, if you would like, we can transfer you over. Now, that job, it was very competitive. They would run contests all the time. They would be like, oh, this month we're doing a contest, and if you do so many loans, you're going to get a car, you're going to get a trip, you're going to get jet skis, hot tub. They just, you know, they threw all this dangling carrot in front of you and wanted you to just always be motivated. And I'm not gonna lie, I was good at it. I was good at it because I was able to talk to people, and I was able to get the information that I needed in order to tailor something to them that also would have to benefit me, right, in sales. So I hated that feeling, though. I hated that feeling where I'm like, I'm using something vulnerable that you're telling me so that I can turn around and slap this like insurance sale on you later.
Yeah.
And they really teach that. They really tell you, like, you know, ask them about, you know, what they did this week. And if they said they went to go see their daughter's recital, use that information later to tell them, like, hey, if you get this loan and you have to get this insurance, God forbid, you know, something happens and you have kids and they have sports and they have this. And I'm just like, okay, so you're getting trained almost to like manipulate people to benefit you, right? And I hated that feeling. And so I told them, if I move, I need to find a different career. I can't do what I'm doing anymore. I've been doing it for 5 years, and I'm at the point where, like, it almost makes me sick. I hate what I'm doing. And so he said, well, I'm going to be making more money, so it's okay if you're going to be making less money. We're going to, you know, figure it out, and and we're going to be fine. So just do something that you want to do. So I applied for the schools because I said I want to do something where I'm making an impact on people in a positive way, whether it's encouraging kids, just giving them that feeling that like someone cares for them, despite what home looks like for them. If they have someone that's supportive, they have someone that's encouraging. I have a very loving mother, but she was an immigrant, Spanish speaking, no education, so she couldn't support me academically. And I feel like if I did have someone that kind of pushed me a little bit harder in school, I could have done better. But school was never really like a priority at home. She knew she couldn't help me with homework, so she just knew that she had to work standing in a factory all day to make sure that she can pay the bills and have food on the table, because she never was someone that wanted to get any kind of like benefits or support or anything. Not that it's shameful, but she just didn't want ever to do any of that. So she worked her tail off to be able to provide for us. And so for her, me just being at school was enough because it allowed her to work. She didn't know how well I was doing, how bad I was doing, and how she could help if I wasn't doing well. She just knew you're supposed to go to school every day. I'm supposed to work, and you can't not be at school. Like even being sick was like hard for her because then she'd have to miss work. And she was an hourly, employee, and wasn't much hourly that she was getting. So sorry, I always fall off track what I'm talking about. Okay, so my husband said, it's okay if you work in something different and you're getting paid less. So I decided to apply for the schools, and their process, it's kind of long. You got to do a background check, you got to do fingerprints, like you're waiting a lot. And in their background check, I had like this dumb thing from, it was like 17 years ago, super far back. And they said, oh, we just have to know like it was cleared, it wasn't cleared. And it was something like, it was nothing major. It was just like, oh, you were driving and like the car you were driving, it was not my car. The car that you were driving didn't have insurance. And so your license is going to get like suspended. So I had to reinstate it, or I had to pay a fine, whatever it was. So it's just, errors of being young and dumb. So I'm like, okay, I'll figure out what court it was, or what county it was, what, how to get some paper saying that everything got cleared out or whatnot. And so I did that, and I'm waiting from them to hear back. And then the City of Hobbs called. So I had also applied for the City of Hobbs. And I almost like forgot I applied for them because I'm like, their process is long too. So I'm like, oh yes,
Where was the other place you applied to?
The other one was the Lovington School District.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then it was the Hobbs Police Department, but it was technically the Code Enforcement Division of it. So, so then they started their background check and their process, and surprisingly beat the Lovington process. But Lovington did also. Unfortunately, they don't have the benefits for like substitute teachers. Really, you weren't going to get insurance. You're going to work just like the days you sign up for working, and you can broaden that schedule if you're going to different schools. So, so just it made more sense to work for the city because the benefits were there. And I'm like, okay, well, it's a lot of administrative work, which I'm used to in the loan business. But it did have some community like outreach aspects of it. And again, I was like, okay, that's still going to connect me to the community, and I'm going to make an impact in a positive way.
And it was code enforcement?
And it was code enforcement. So I started working there, and I enjoyed it very, very much. It was like they didn't throw me into it all at once. They eased me into different projects.
Did you work out of the police station? Or?
So my office moved quite a bit. I did get a chance to work at the police station. That was very eye-opening experience because they encounter a lot of interesting people there, right? And so I'm working there. Sometimes people are just coming in because they're in the wrong place. Some people are just getting out of like city jail. So I'm encountering some of those folks. But yeah, I got to meet a lot of the officers and get familiar with them, which I'm grateful for. They are doing amazing things, for our community and putting their lives on the line. So being able to kind of connect with them and what they do day to day was awesome. My office at some point also was at City Hall. My office at some point was at the Animal Adoption Center. And then that opened up like a whole other, door for me, because then I was able to get more involved with the Hobbs Animal Adoption Center and with what they're doing for the community, which is completely different, to be honest, than like the police department, right? So it's a whole other ball game. But they they need a lot of help too. And so everything is so different. Like Hobbs Police Department, code enforcement, animal control, the Hobbs Animal Adoption Center. Like they're all together in a way, but they're all so very different. And their community outreach looks different, and their needs look different, and what their services are different. So it was great to just learn all of that. When I lived in Chicago, even when I lived in San Antonio, I never met a code enforcement officer. I've never met an animal control officer. Police officers, I mean, sure, I've met them, but not like, worked with them. So it was all just very humbling in a way, and just like opened up a lot of my knowledge to what they're doing and how much they want to connect with their community. And I was like, oh, this is perfect, because this is like my goal. I want to connect with the community. So yeah, they allowed me to start doing outreach. And as my office changed everywhere, I got to do a little bit more outreach. Like I think they seen that I had a passion for it, and they're like, oh, she enjoys this. Maybe she can help us with this program, or maybe she can help us with this event. So I started doing a little bit more and more for each division of it. And then the opportunity to do something with volunteering with the animals came up. They're like, we need to see more volunteers here. Like we need to be able to be transparent with people of like what's going on at the Animal Adoption Center. What does this really look like? People that know the Animal Adoption Center know what it was years ago, and it's not the same anymore. And I was also tasked with trying to educate people on the phone, because I was dispatching, so I was getting all the calls. And so that was a good first opportunity to talk to people about what our processes are and what the facility looks like. And there's many times where people are on the phone upset about a dog that's not getting picked up, and it's not good. Like that is the outcome. It's not going to get picked up, and they are not okay with that outcome. And there's many times where I invited that person. Why don't you come down to the facility? You don't have to volunteer the whole day. You can give me 15 minutes. I'll give you a tour of this place, and I will show you how we house the dogs, why we're at capacity, what this looks like on this side of the phone, because I know your issue is happening right now and it's inconvenient for you, but the outcome, it can't change. Like we cannot change what we can do today. Like that dog has to be there today. Maybe the dog can get picked up tomorrow, maybe get picked up at the end of the week, maybe next month, but that dog right now, that's where it needs to be. In here, there is no space for it. And so, people right away always want to ask, like, do we euthanize? Do we, put dogs down? Every place that deals with animal welfare and a facility like that, they do have to deal with that in one way or another. So it's an unfortunate reality of, yes, it's a question that no one really wants to hear the answer. It's a curious question that people, want to know. And yes, we do deal with that. But we are not going to use that option as like, oh, well, that dog in your alley is really bothering you today. We have a way we can resolve that, and it will be euthanizing the dog. Like, that's not fair. Like, that's not the outcome that we're out for. And we really want to educate people on, like, doing things properly. Ownership, breeding dogs, spay and neuter.
Yeah, one of my big things is having a system in place for people who randomly find strays, and what I would do if it were not the middle of the night would be to take the dog to a vet and see if it had a microchip, and then if it didn't, then what are you going to do? You could take it to Amazing Grace if they have the room, there needs to be something.
I agree. There needs to be a protocol.
Yeah,
right?
and I'm out of touch. There might be a good protocol right now that I'm not aware of, but I'm an average person and I'm a cross poster.
And that's why I love these conversations, because we get to kind of conversate, well, what are the options? Is there any options? Is there options that we don't advertise enough, But you mentioned Amazing Grace. I'm a huge advocate for supporting our local rescues, because they are another resource. And a lot of people want to use just the Animal Adoption Center as their number one resource. But we're one of many. We have to support everyone when and where we can, because where we can't do things like where we can't serve a dog, Amazing Grace might be able to, right? And where they can't serve a dog, maybe another, like the Humane Society can do something, you know. So we all have to work together and see where we could share the responsibility of things. And I know there's a lot of work to be done with the Animal Adoption Center, and they're looking into, you know, possibly opening up another one. And would that really be the best option? It's unknown yet. They're assessing that now.
The very best option is benevolent yet mandatory spay and neuter.
Yeah, and so when we're doing like transports to other states, and we're like, you know, how is it that we can send all these animals over there? And they're like, well, they don't have an overpopulation of animals.
Yeah, and why don't they have
Right.
what are they doing right? You know, but you do other things as well now with in your capacity for the city.
Yeah, I still always want to be involved with the Animal Adoption Center, and even with the Hobbs Police Department. If they ever needed anything, you know, I'm happy to do outreach and education with kids. We do presentations in kids' schools, like youth schools, daycares, the library.
Do you work like with the Center for the Arts, the library, the United Way?
Oh yeah, we collaborate on stuff all the time. Like I try to be as involved as I can in our city. Like
In the Lea County Museum,
yes,
yeah.
for sure. Like anytime we have any kind of event that we're looking to plan or anything, we see, okay, how can we involve these different agencies, entities, organizations, nonprofits? Like, because at the end of the day, what represents Hobbs is its people, right? And its people are the same people want to thrive and see others thrive. So yeah, we try to include everyone we can in anything that we're doing. So more recently, we did our very first Holly Jolly Fest. That was like a brand new signature event for the city. Normally they host the tree light ceremony. And we had help from the Downtown Improvement Association to host that, so that we could provide Holly Jolly as another event to do in the city. So both were an amazing success, you know, and Dia also has that same mentality of like, how do we incorporate as many agencies, organizations, nonprofits to also utilize this event to connect with the people. So they did an amazing job. They had a bunch of vendors. They had the Center of the Arts involved. Again, actually, we're planning a cleanup down Broadway in a few weeks, and that's like another, you know, I don't know. There's something about downtown this year. I feel like it's a year. They're getting the restaurant. They're revitalizing. Ship Plaza's supposed to be getting a facelift. Like there's a lot going down in downtown this year. So I'm really excited about that. And I asked if we can maybe do a cleanup down Broadway, where we just try to clean up as much as we can. Maybe hit some of that alleyway too, because the murals.
Yeah, the murals.
Yeah, that was something that was just super new and amazing. I got to work on a mural, another super big dream I've had, and I'm like, wow, I got chosen.
I believe I saw you up
Yeah.
on a scaffold in the alley doing it. It might have been a green.
Yeah, it was a green mural. It was Mexican heritage themed mural, and it's basically an array of Mexican candies. And it says "Eres un bombón," which is like an endearment, almost saying like you're a marshmallow, but you're almost saying like you're such a sweetie, you know. So I did that, and that was so much fun. But I did notice when I was painting throughout the week that it needed to be cleaned up more. So I'm like, okay, there's a need here.
Sure.
But yeah, I'd love to see. They said that they might look into trying to brighten up that alley and, you know, have a little bit more of a safer walk traffic through there, so more people can enjoy that space. But I am very excited about what's going on downtown. I don't have a lot of hands-on that project, but anything, you know, that has to do with bringing arts, bringing people together, making memories, providing just joy for the residents, I'm all for that. So I'm excited to see what that looks like.
There's one spot, it used to be, I believe, a Chinese restaurant a number of years ago. It's on Turner, but it's been vacant. It's a nice looking building, and it was nice, you know, when it was open. And I hate to see abandoned buildings.
Yeah, and then unfortunately, you do see a lot of that downtown, right? Where it's like the buildings aren't utilized to its maximum potential.
Yeah.
So, and I think that is another goal of like DIA to kind of help with that,
Sure.
revitalize it. But I do know the building you're talking about, kind of across from Buddy's, where Buddy's used to be. And I think even, well, both of those buildings, I don't know if it was technically condemned. I want to say they both were, but they were asked to be like boarded up because people, animals, things were getting inside
Right.
and causing health and safety concerns. So I know exactly what you're talking about. And yeah, it could be a great spot. So what do we need to do, right? As
You seem like you really, as much as anyone, see the interrelatedness of things, with the community as a whole, the different parts, but you see the whole, and it's exciting.
Thank you.
I mean, how illiteracy makes unemployment leads to crime, how the arts can be beneficial, and the prosperity of businesses, the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, and like I mentioned, I had visited Lovington and Hobbs years back, right? Probably like when I had gotten out of high school, maybe a little bit after. But I remember bringing my friend to Lovington. And so we took a road trip here. And we were young and didn't really have a lot of responsibilities. We were like, we'll hang out for a while. We lived here, I think, like 4 months. And in that time, we got a job at like an Allsup's.
Wow.
We rented a little house and it was like $400 a month, I think $600 a month. It was super cheap rent. And they opened up Comfort Suites here in Hobbs. We started working there as like housekeepers. And I remember seeing Hobbs so different than what I see it as today. Like, yes, it's not at its full potential right now, but the growth spurt that it had in those like probably 10 years is amazing. Like what's come of here, the entrepreneurship drive that we have here, like so many food trucks even in the last few years have like, started off and done well. Like I know there's a food truck that I think it's Rolling Cones, right? They have a brick and mortar, I think, in Lubbock now.
Yeah, Rock and Taco.
Rock and Taco, yeah, like these places that even started off as food trucks that are now a brick and mortar company, because their drive and their hustle was just that, strong, that they're like, oh no, this is a dream. And there's something about Hobbs that, like, if you have a dream, like, you can achieve it. It's not hard. It's not that it's not hard. It is hard. It's not impossible. Like, and I remember as a kid, people tell you like, oh, you do whatever you want when you're an adult. You can, you dream big and do whatever you put your mind to it and stuff like that. And I thought of just like the craziest things. I'm like, there's no way I can do that stuff. And again, I grew up with an immigrant mother, a single mother. Out of us 4 siblings, my oldest sibling did go to college and she is doing amazing. But she did say that there was a lot of mistakes she made along the way, only because she didn't have someone, again, coaching her through like an education journey of like what you should do and how you should do it and how to apply for grants and all that kind of stuff. She didn't have the guidance that she needed. But I mean, she's an amazing person, she has an amazing career, and she does well. And then my other 2 siblings and we all struggled in school. Some reason, my oldest sister got lucky with that. I don't know. Maybe she just had the brains in the family.
Is she in the Chicago area?
She is. Yeah.
Okay.
And she works for a global company. Like I said, she does amazing. So then my other siblings and we all are fine. We all did well, but like my other 2 siblings didn't graduate from high school. I had changed schools during high school. So that was almost like a big mistake too. I lost credits. And then I realized too, like, oh, I'm not going to graduate. I don't have enough credits. And I had to like go to my counselor in a brand new school. I had no friends. And I'm like, hey, I'm thinking I'm not going to be able to graduate. And he's like, yeah, you're right. You're not going to be able to. You don't have enough credits to graduate. If you want to graduate, one, I need that commitment from you and I'm going to help you, but it's not going to be easy. So my last 2 years of high school, were literally like 4 years of high school squeezed
Wow.
in. I had to go to summer school, I had to take after school classes, I had to do online classes, and still attend my regular classes, which was tough because I was like a senior in like a sophomore class,
I bet.
you know, and some
Yeah.
other classes where I was like attending class with freshmen. And so it was difficult, like to be able to concentrate, to even just like the judgment of it, you know, all of that. But that counselor, Pagentini, I'll never forget his name, Counselor Pagentini. He was a reason why, you know, I was able to graduate. He really helped me out a lot. So out of my 4 siblings, I was only the second one to get a high school diploma. And I didn't go to college. I thought I wanted to. I went to cosmetology school, and they told me you can do it as an applied science associates if you want. And so I started that. Ended up getting out of cosmetology school, going back to a different one, and I did finish. But then I realized like that's not what I want to do. Cosmetology school is great if you're going to open up a salon and you're going to be the boss. But if you were going to be a stylist, I feel like you should just, if that's your passion and you're good at it, then just do it, you know?
Yeah.
But if you're going to open up a salon, you actually need your like license and that to open your establishment. Like I feel like, okay, it's good for you to do it. But also if it's not a passion of yours, it's a very difficult job. And my hat's off to anyone that does cosmetology, hairstyling, esthetician, all of that. Because it is, if people think like, oh, it's just a fun job and you're doing hair all day. No, it's a very hard job. You are standing all day. If your hands are not moving, often above your head, repetitive, you know, movements, if you are not moving, you are not making money. Like you have to be consistently booking clients. So it's a very difficult job, and I realized that very quick. And I ended up working in a salon for a little bit. It was a family salon. We did a lot of men's haircuts, which I realized, I mean, now prices are going higher, but I realized men were spending a lot less than women when they were doing their hair. So if I had 8 clients that were men versus if I had 10 clients that were women, I was not making enough money, right? So I'm like, oh, I have to cut nonstop all day, every day. And you're working weekends, you know, your day off is Monday, which actually I did enjoy. But yeah, so I'm like the days that you want to go out and have fun, those are the days that you actually make more money. You need to be in the salon. So yeah, I realized that work was not for me. And I'm like, you know what? I think I like getting services. I don't love giving the services. So I realized cosmetology is like, you have to really have a passion for it. So I stopped doing that, and that's when I started going into like more administrative work. Like I need to clock in and out. I couldn't do this like commission-based cosmetology work. I was like, I need to clock in and out. I need to have insurance. The cosmetology or the salon I was working at was not offering those kind of benefits.
And to live out your passion,
right?
You know,
yeah.
as you go along.
Yeah. So
And I have a question for you. I asked this to our previous podcast guests, Manny Gomez and interim chief
Wade. Leon. Lyons.
Yes.
Lyons.
With the event center refurbishment, will that significantly improve the quality of living in Hobbs?
I think it definitely could. And I grew up somewhere where the event center, like in Schaumburg, where I worked and did a lot of like my entertainment shopping and all of that. The event center in that area hosted 4th of July for all the surrounding towns. Like I could see that happening.
See, will that filter down to, well, my passions are animals and arts. Will it help in that regard?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure how that will.
Yeah, you know, and I mentioned this with interim chief Lyons and city manager Gomez. The trickle-down economy, which was a popular term during the Reagan era, you hope that something like that might happen, you know, or happens today. Maybe it happens today. I don't know enough about the economics and the finances, but I do see how everything is interrelated in the community.
As an event coordinator, what events would you like to see happen at the cultural center?
At the event center?
Yeah.
Well, it's hard to say, only because the event center is the county's, right?
Oh,
And so, I mean, we could plan a city event there, but it's not like our building. Where if I said, oh, as the city event planner, I want to do my event at this park, at the city park, or at the teen center, like that is a city building, so it's easier. And I haven't had the pleasure yet to say, hey, I want to plan an event, a city event at the Lea County Event Center. I would love to do one there. I mean, we did Holly Jolly at the core, and we talked about like, can this be something that expands to where maybe there's something also going on at the event center that can kind of, people can explore both that same night. Or what if we expanded it even more? What if the NMJC had something and the Zia Casino had something, and people can come on that weekend and do all 4 events, you know? So we talked about that, but we didn't talk about like if that was moved to the event center, and I don't know what that would look like. But when I think about Holly Jolly Fest, because that is like the biggest event that we get to help coordinate for the city, I do kind of see it getting big as to where maybe the fair and rodeo is.
the what?
Like the fair and rodeo, the Lee County Fair and Rodeo. Like I want to see it to that magnitude where I would wish, right? I'm not saying this is going to happen this year, next year, or many years from now, but I would wish that it could be a longer event, longer time, right? Because if I'm thinking about, let's say in Chicago or in San Antonio, where I've gone to like a Winter Wonder Fest or something, the Christmas markets, and it's maybe 2 weekends, you know, or a week long. They have a setup where you can come by during the week if it's like just better for your family. Like I would love to see something where maybe the attractions aren't fully open during the week, but you can go and enjoy things during the week. Like I would love to see, even if it had to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, if it was a 3-day thing. Like I would love us to be able to carry out a holiday event that was more than 4 hours one night. You know? So, and if it was something longer, maybe the event center would be potentially a good place, because the core is also a membership gym. So you know, they host conferences, gym classes, and all that kind of stuff. So it might not be as easy.
Well, it certainly seems like a very worthwhile thing, and I hope it happens. But it's really been, do you have any hobbies that we haven't mentioned before we leave?
I do. I'm honestly, I have so many hobbies, and we did touch on a couple. So the art, right? I got to do that mural. Work does allow me to be a little bit of a creative outlet at times. I get to design some flyers and work with Chad Littlejohn on his communication stuff. And I do love being one with nature, so I want to get into more. I need to expand my hobby outdoors more, but I love going out for walks or hiking. I a couple of years ago started doing paddle boarding, which I realized was a passion of mine. I'm like, okay, I love this because I'm on the water. I love being in the water. I tried kayaking last year. That was a lot of fun, and I didn't realize that I was going to like it more than paddleboarding. And now I'm like, now I got to invest in a kayak.
Wow!
And I need to be able to put that on my car.
Where would you do the kayaking?
So I did paddleboarding more. The kayaking I did in Carlsbad.
Okay.
And the paddleboarding I would do a lot just here at the Bottomless Lake.
Oh, okay.
It's so close to me.
Yeah.
I'm in Lovington, so it takes me like an hour, 20 minutes, or hour, 30 minutes to get there. That was super fun. And then recently I did a puzzle competition.
A what?
A puzzle competition. And that was really fun. So I hosted that at the core. And it wasn't a city event. It was just me personally inviting people if they wanted to come out, swap puzzles if they're into puzzles. If they have some at home, that once you do a puzzle once or twice, you're probably not doing that much more. It's just collecting dust. So we invited people to bring in puzzles that they had at home.
Huh.
We swapped, and then we did a 2-hour competition on a 500-piece puzzle, either teams of 4 or solo competitors. And so that was a lot of fun. And then any puzzles that were left over, we donated to Norlee's Cancer Center.
Cool.
They have a table set up there. I've gone for some iron infusions, and I notice a table with a puzzle on it every time I go. So I asked about it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we always put a puzzle out here." And I asked, "Well, do you guys take donated puzzles? I can bring some for you after our event." And so yesterday we went and dropped off like 6 or 7 puzzles for them that were donated from the people that competed. That was a lot of fun. And then I had already mentioned too, like I'm kind of like a community enthusiast. I love just exploring neighboring towns, if not my own, right? Even here in Hobbs, like checking out a new restaurant. When Joe's Italian restaurant opened, I was like one of their the first day I was there, yeah. Well, I didn't go to their soft opening because it was such a short, and I just could imagine how busy they were going to be. But the next day, the actual full day opening, I did go. But yeah, I love checking out new spots. I am a foodie, so if there's a new restaurant, I'm trying to get there as soon as they open and trying to see if it's, flavorful, if it's good, if it's going to be an in the rotation. And any kind of community events, anywhere where people are coming together to have just enjoy their evening. So any city event, I really do try to attend, and people think it's like because I work for the city, and like, yes, I do go because I work for the city. I take pictures, I try to, kind of show what happened that day and cover it, recap it if I can, but I just enjoy people gathering together.
Cool.
Yeah, and I think the city is very fortunate to have you
That's so sweet.
working for the city too, Evelyn. We're fortunate to have you here, and maybe in the not too distant future you can come back. So we like it when we can talk about specific issues, but it's really good to get your story and to hear all that you do with the city and also touches on the county as well. So thank you for being here.
I appreciate it. It's a great introduction, for us meeting each other and people getting to know me. And
Yeah, I would love to sit more, but we've come to the end of our time today. Appreciate your time. Appreciate how you're working within the community to lift people up. And I think it's one of the most important things that you can do, that we all need to do, is lift each other up as a community. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us for Lea County Pod today. Have a great day.